morning, Shirley. Seeing that February is the month that we are launching our new Footprints Nature Quest program, which we are very excited about, and the waiting list of people wanting more information they're also excited. Let's spend the month concentrating on nature study and why we need to do it, how we can do it, the benefits of nature study, the spin-offs that can come from it academically. And to start off with, let's talk about why families who've got so many things to do. We've got to do maths, and we've got to do language, we've got to do history, we've got to do art, we've got to cook and clean, and why should they cut out in their week a little niche time to go and to go and spend time out in nature?
Well, I was thinking about all the academic reasons, but actually that little niche is actually just fun. You know, sometimes we just need a break from all those other intense academic things that we fill our days with. But I think what really summed it up nicely for me was that quote that I found by Albert Einstein, who said that nature study is the basis of all scientific observation. And that really got me thinking. And, you know, I thought of old Isaac Newton, who was staring at an apple tree and it dropped, and that sort of gave him the idea of gravity. And I thought, well, yeah, Einstein's probably telling the truth. So maybe we should look into this and look at the benefits. But of course, just getting out there, getting out in nature and sitting and observing, besides just being a break from the books and the usual, it teaches our children patience. And you need to have a lot of patience if you're going to do nature study, especially if you're looking for something specific, but also the patience to observe and record what you see. So I think those are good skills that will benefit kids in other areas of their academic studies and in life as well. What would you add?
Well, I'm thinking of that story about boys who had been raised in Charlotte Mason's schooling system, and how when it was in the Second World War, I think it was, that they were then sought after as scouts for army platoons because they had such high powers of observation, and that taking the time to look at the changing of the leaves or the caterpillar coming across the path, sitting and sketching, looking at tracks of animals, it had that benefit in them as young men eventually to be aware and alert in their surroundings and find a prestigious place in a tragic time in the world, but to serve their country. And I thought that was one of those things that we do want to instill in our children, is to be able, oops, hello, cat, is to take note of their environment around them. And I think the spin-off from that is, as Christian parents, is that the word says that he has made himself known through his creation. So when we are observing nature and creation and the way it functions, we're also observing the characteristics of God. So those were the two thoughts that came to me about it. Maybe we can focus less on the academic side and on the family relationship building side. When you pack up your bag and you head out, you're still busy with your kids. I know that you're embracing a new season of nature study, so maybe you want to share about that.
Yeah, I realize that it's only when you go out and do these things that might be quite new to your family that you get these wonderful opportunities for character training and relationship building. And in our home, there's still some issues that are ongoing and not fully resolved, and that came out of this nature study. So I've got one child who's still very reluctant to draw, and we've been talking about that, and you know, it just is what it is. And then last week we had a situation where one child got very frustrated and didn't actually produce much while myself and the other child who was with me were doing our drawings, but then didn't give up, continued and tried again, which was great to see. And we kind of left that child. And then I went and sat and had this lovely conversation with the other one about how we wouldn't have this opportunity to discuss all of these things in our family that are happening if we weren't just out there doing this. And these struggles also wouldn't have arisen. So I think they are very valuable. And to go back to your story about the men in the war, just today, we were reading a story about a game range in KwaZulu-Natal. And the author of the story shared that one of his game rangers gave notice because his family were immigrating to the UK. And he was a young man in his 20s who had a very close relationship with his parents. And they had all lived in Zululand for, many generations, but decided to go to the UK. And at the end of that chapter, he shared that this young man then enlisted in the army and ended up serving in Afghanistan, but in a position of leadership, and his knowledge of the bush and survival outdoors was something that stood him in good stead.
Amazing.
So I'm really hoping our boys aren't going to war, but the point is that these guys who have been out in nature have character and qualities that are sought after. And so there must be even probably more to it than what we've already uncovered. I think it's not a waste of time to develop patience, to train your character, to be observant, and then just to be out of doors and, comfortable in that environment.
Well, I was thinking just, in terms of a closing, the benefits of doing nature study. We so often as moms, we focus on the benefit for the child and how my child's going to grow and my child's future. But I found that because of nature study that we started 25 years ago, I have grown so much. I have learned so much. And when I went through a terrible time of adrenal fatigue over the sort of last 5 years, one of the things that it did for me was lower my cortisol levels, which then brings all the stress down. You can walk and observe and enjoy that space without any of the pressure and the clutter of life around you. And you can just be with your children, and the to-do list in the head that is constantly running can just pause and stop for a moment. So there's great benefit for the mom as well as kids.
Absolutely.
So hopefully this will encourage parents to get out there and do nature study, whether or not they buy a Footprints Nature Quest. And then just on that note, at the end of the month, we're going to be doing a live stream, which will be a free live stream, which is going to be a show and tell kind of thing about our new program, so that parents who are on the waiting list, but also others who are interested in how do we get started and we want to learn about our land and that sort of thing, you can all come and pop in and visit us. Any closing thoughts, or is that good?
No, that's good. And just a little point to look out for our next live chat, which is going to be more practical on how to do nature study instead of only why.
Why? Fantastic. Good chat.